The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
What time is it?
I knew you'd come.
Delete! 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 Delete!
Bring Freddy Krueger's world, Elm Street. We want to see Bray Wyatt's version of the Boiler Room.
My name is Dario Cueto. My relationship with the wrestlers is very special.
And he's hanging out with Masquerita Sagrada in what looks like his basement. And then his mom shows up with bagel bites. It's glorious.
Oh, that's awesome.
We are scientifically proven to be the best tag team, and not just in NXT, not just in the WWE, but in the entire universe.
I know someone took him. And I'm gonna find him. Give me back my Dango!
Hey, Breed.
Dango!
Wait, bro.
Where you been, dude?
Hey.
I was looking everywhere for you.
What's up with all this crime scene, do not cross scene tape?
Well, I thought someone took you. We don't need it now.
It's okay, it's
I thought
alright.
someone took you.
What's the matter? Easy. I've been around, I've been doing things.
What do you mean around doing things? I was looking for you.
I text you. Oh, no, I didn't.
You didn't?
AOL Messenger, I hit you up on AOL. Did you get back to me?
No, I was too busy, getting the...
I see that you finally passed the police academy. Good for you, man.
Well, I had
doing
to.
things.
I was looking for
Doing
clues,
things.
investigating.
Life. You got my brain moving. Yeah. Waves upstairs are running.
Yeah.
The hamsters and stuffs.
Yeah?
Bring this. Come with me. I'll be like money.
Okay.
Come with me.
Cool.
Come with me.
Cool.
It's very dangerous, Silas.
Yeah.
It's very dangerous.
Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling to the max.
And your hosts, Gary Vaughn, Sean Garmer, and Paul Leeser.
Welcome, everybody, to Wrestling to the Max. This is episode 217, part 2. And boy, do we have a big one for you this week. Not only do we have NXT, Lucha Underground, and TNA Impact Wrestling to talk about, but we are going to get into some big topics like, hey, Brie Bella and Daniel Bryan are going to have a kid. It's going to be a certain gender. We'll tell you which one it is. And, of course, we're also going to get into some big news with TNA. Yes, I know, the saga continues, and we've got some interesting news right for you. And, maybe it's a little positive, maybe it's a little negative. I don't know. We'll leave it up to your discretion. Plus, we're going to jump into some other discussions when it comes to the world of wrestling. Plenty of stuff to get into tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. And, of course, I'm your host, Gary Vaughn. I am not doing the show alone, though. Of course, we got Mr. Paul Leeser.
Heyo.
And Mr. Sean Garmer.
What's going on, people?
And, guys, I'm excited about talking about wrestling, and I'm looking forward to all the stuff that we got going on, but I will say this, it seems like not just with wrestling, but all the other stuff we have going on, there is tons of things coming our way still in the fall lineup of TV and movies. I'm just getting my head just swarming. Walking Dead comes on this Sunday night. I'm thrilled. I'm also terrified of what's going to happen. So I'm just trying to catch up on TV too, because I missed an entire week of TV and everything else. Missed a whole week of wrestling too. I was catching up, so it's been nuts around here. But how's everything going over there on your side of the world, Paul?
Just fine. Lots of time off, so I've been catching up on wrestling, and I've been catching up on writing and reading and all these other things that you don't get a chance to do whenever you work 40 hours a week.
Yeah. Yeah, see, it's nice to have some time off. And I was actually offered a little bit more, surprisingly enough. We just kind of had a slow week this week. But I said, no, I'm going to try to get as much done as I can and get things taken care of. And it's nice to have the downtime, though. It really is. Sean, man, I hope things are going good for you. Any surprises, anything we're going to find out about Anaya's Halloween costume this year?
Oh, I had no idea. I'm sorry.
Usually the kid demands a certain costume. My daughter is demanding to be a fairy princess with a unicorn.
Well, seeing as Grandma doesn't really care for Halloween, I don't know how that's going to go. But, she really likes Halloween and scary stuff, which is surprising for a girl, so she takes after me on that side of things. But, it's a weird one because we're trying to move and all these things are kind of getting in our way. Thankfully, someone was able to help us out today to keep one of those things from being a prolonged thing. So thank you, Mr. Jacob San Antonio, who's been on the show before here. He helped me out today. And yeah, just been a lot of work. We're starting to get into that holiday season now at work, so they're actually giving us hours, which is weird because it's been so many weeks where we haven't had hours. And so I've been working I think Saturday will be my almost 6th day this week.
Wow.
And, so behind on editing everybody's stuff for the website, and then just the Nintendo Switch got revealed today, so got lots of stuff going on. But we had to do an emergency podcast before we did this podcast.
Wow, and the Switch looks interesting. It does. The one question I'll have is, does it have the capability of you being able to use it outside of your home?
Yes.
Oh, it's perfect. Okay,
Not
so
to
it
teach
is
your kids, but
Oh.
Unfortunate.
That's just before you went there to make that joke.
Yeah, geez. Wow.
No, you can. The whole point is for you to take it outside of your home and use it.
Okay. Sweet.
If you watch the trailer, that's what they do half the time. The trailers, they go to a park and they use it. They go to a conference place and use it. This girl goes from inside her house to outside her house to play with her friends. It has controllers on it too, so you can take the controller off and play with your friend, and then you can actually be in your house. And if you get the Pro Controller thing, you can use more like a regular controller to play with it. So
that's totally
just
awesome.
Just waiting to see how much it's going to cost and if the battery life is going to be decent on it or not. Because the Wii U has that gamepad thing, and that thing lasted 2 hours before it would die on you. So.
Jeez. Well, you know what? For everybody who wants to know more about that Switch, they need to go check out Video Games to the Max. And you can only find Video Games to the Max in a couple places. And, of course, with this podcast, Football to the Max, and, of course, all the other great podcasts that are associated with this podcast, go to W2Mnet.com to not only get those podcasts, but also to get some written form stuff that you're not going to want to miss out on. And, of course, hey, if you're looking for a place just to go and, find all our stuff, and you're maybe looking at iTunes, how can I get all this content in one place? W2Mnet, I'm going crazy. W2M Network. I almost said net.net again. W2M Network is the place to go. Just add it, download it, and then you subscribe, and you can get all our stuff, guys. It'll be really easy. One click gets you all the great shows right at your disposal whenever you want to hear them. And, of course, that also helps us to get our name out there for other people, other wrestling fans, other football fans, and video game fans to check out all the great stuff we have to offer. Why delay any further, guys? We've got a good show. I am thrilled about talking about some of these quick hits, so let's go ahead and do it. Let's talk quick hits.
It's time for wrestling news. Quick hits.
Alrighty, now let's start this thing off with that TNA Impact Wrestling news that came out, and this is very interesting. They got kind of bailed out a little bit here. Now, not completely, but a little bit. Apparently, Fight TV has a lot of interest in them because they have a big, support system with Impact. They kind of share, and of course, Impact does help them a lot. So, what they're doing to kind of prolong the life of TNA Impact is paying off the debt that is apparently owed to Billy Corgan. Of course, you heard us on our Part 1 episode talk about Billy Corgan suing him. There's a lot of other people suing him too, but primarily Billy Corgan is a big deal. It also kind of hides some things away by them maybe bailing him out. So that's what's going on. So someone has actually got their back at this minute. And, you know, I'm not talking about days. I'm not talking about weeks or future. I have no idea what's going to happen there. But at this minute, at this moment right now, it's looking better, not brighter. Well, what do you think about this whole thing, Paul?
It's like plugging a hole in a ship that has so many leaks and keeps springing leaks, but you've managed to plug one. And maybe it was a big one. You know, Billy Corgan obviously has ownership control in TNA as well as Fight Network does too. So it's sort of like, you know, one hand paying off the other here. But at the same time, I mean, there's so many other lawsuits swimming around. There's so many other problems. I was reading a couple articles today that said that if TNA does declare bankruptcy, Chapter 7 would save them, Chapter 11 would close them, which is that's not a fun place to be in.
Well, they'll probably try to file Chapter 7 and hope that whoever buys them actually wants them to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So that's let's hope that's the case for TNA. They probably are going to have to file, and then who knows if Fight Network or someone else will try to get the tape library or fund them at all again. I just have a feeling either way that they file bankruptcy is not going to wind up good for them at all.
Yeah, it's not good. And, you know, I think that this situation for TNA just gets worse and worse, even though some of these nice things are happening. It seems like this road is leading towards bankruptcy, or for them to finally to sell it. But, you know, I think being bankrupt is probably the better way. That way when someone does buy them, they're not so worried about all the other bad things that come along with them, and they can just basically get the library, of course, the roster, all the contracts, all the TV deals come their way. And that's the biggest thing here. Now, still the question would be who would purchase them, all that stuff. But we're not at that point yet. I mean, really don't have to figure that out just this minute. But like Paul said, this is just one hole plugged with all the other holes still void and still letting that water in the ship. But you got to give them credit. They're trying to do what they can. Fight TV sees TNA Impact Wrestling as something that's helping them, and that's to their best interest. So I can't blame them for that at all, and I don't think many people will. And Billy Corgan's probably pretty happy too. He gets paid, right? So it works out for everybody. Saying all that, let's talk about some other interesting news in the world of the wrestling. Let's talk about the fact that, we've got some situations going on with some relationships. We, of course, talked the heck out of Alberto Del Rio and Paige, so let's not talk about them for a second. Let's talk about maybe a better situation. That's Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella. They announced, and trust me, this was announced very loudly. I got a deal on my phone, and I was like, I never get these, announcing that they're going to have a baby girl, which Brie basically says that she's excited about this. She has a great relationship with her mom, and she's also excited that someone could carry on her legacy, because her legacy is so honorable and bright and long. And of course, Daniel Bryan's excited as well, saying, some nice things. So, but Sean, I mean, this is cool. I know me and you both have kids. It was very exciting to find out, when I was going to have a kid. You got to be happy for him, and do you think this kid's actually going to, lead down the road and possibly be the future legacy of Brie?
I mean, go ahead. No, go ahead, Sean.
Both of us having daughters, it's cool always to find out when you have more daughters out there in the world. So, this is obviously this is what they've wanted for a long while, especially Brie. So happy for them. I'm sure it's weird because most of the time the parent wants the child of their gender. I can already. It's gonna be funny to see a mini Brie and Brian going around talking about composting things and what organic food they're gonna eat and whatever. It's imagine what life she will lead. I'm sure having Aunt Nikki in there teaching her, the things you normally associate with girls is going to be fun to see the stories they could probably tell. I mean, who knows how long the Total Divas thing is going to last, but if we ever get to see them in any kind of role where the kid's talking or whatever, it's cool. It's just, this is a cool thing. It's always great for them to have kids and everything else, because who knows, like you said, we could be, when we're like 50, we'll be hearing about this, whatever the child's going to be named, going into wrestling, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, at the Performance Center this day, Shondell.
Shondell? All right.
Maybe that's not hippie enough, right? They
maybe
could have
we don't need to have Gary make baby names.
No. Okay, I'll read it. They're hippies, right? So it'll be some kind of flower name, I'm assuming. Azalea.
Maybe it is flower. Who knows?
Yeah. God, that's so Aunt Nikki can remember it. Flower.
Yeah,
I like those.
We can't do orchid, John, or something.
Yeah, no, you can't. That's too difficult. That's right, John. She's a flower, Nikki. Flower. Oh, that's right, flower. That's you. I love you.
Jeez.
All I could say is if this kid comes out looking like a Bella and can wrestle like Daniel Bryan, there's wrestling is in for a good treat there. Then.
Yeah, watch out, Trish. You got some competition if that's the case, right?
Yeah.
I think watch out wrestlers, period.
Right?
Oh, boy. Well, some other good news is, Black Lotus is pregnant. So that's some interesting news, guys. I mean, I wonder what that child's name's going to be.
Let's not keep making baby names on this show.
That could be a new segment on this show. Just put two people together. What's their baby's name going to be? Come on. This helps the demographic that I'm sure really enjoys these things. I don't know. If you don't want to talk about that,
that's not the demographic that listens to this show. Pretty sure.
I did not. And by the way, I didn't point out a demographic. Let's talk about Paige. She had her neck surgery. Now, this was very important. Especially now that she's probably going to be sooner than later on her own on the indie circuit and whatever. Now, I'm just saying that because we're assuming she'll be let go after her suspension and all that good stuff.
Well, if she's out for a year, she won't get let go at all because the WWE does not release you if you're injured.
Oh, man. So is this injury? See, that's the next question I was going to ask. I don't know how long this is going to take for her to recover. I knew it was a serious surgery, but
6 months to a year. So
yeah. She got screws in her neck. They had to decompress her spine some. She had some other hernias. She had a couple hernias they had to go in and fix too. Like apparently she pretty banged up. So I mean, yeah, 6 months to a year sounds about right. And I neck stuff I always wager on the longer part.
Yeah, and usually you have to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's the kind of the dangers of wrestling, It's, so many of these have had those neck surgeries, and a lot of times you're never the same after that. So hopefully, Paige takes care of herself, and it's it'll be interesting. She's already flying after that, which you're really not supposed to. So I don't know.
No. Yeah. If Del Rio tells her to, she will. So we'll see. Lita. I'm trying to remember how long Lita wrestled after her neck surgery. I can't remember. Do you guys know off the top of your head?
It's 4 or 5 years, wasn't it?
Was it 4 or 5 years?
But she's wrestling a lot less, though.
Yeah.
Towards the latter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, she started. They had the thing take off with Edge and all that, to where she didn't really need to wrestle as much.
That's true. So I was just kind of trying to put that put them side by side and try to think about that. But, we're all hoping good things for Paige, no matter what she
does. Now that
Paige
has had a neck surgery, like Total Bellows, maybe they can have total whatever you call Paige and Alberto and have all the Paige's family there the whole time.
I call it total wreck.
It's a car crash you just can't look away from.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oof. That actually may be an entertaining show. But still, I don't know. Talking about, we'll talk about another female wrestler, but let's go ahead and talk about this, and then we'll jump into what I do want to talk about this certain female wrestler. The Performance Center got some new talent in. Now they have Tommy End, Big Damo, and Crazy Mary in that Performance Center, and that is good news because we've been hearing about them come, and we've heard about them, possibly doing a few things. The one thing we do hear, and this is a huge rumor, I don't know if it's the case, don't take this as word, but this is a possibility that Crazy Mary could possibly be Sister Abigail. That's, like I said, that's just a rumor. What would you think about that, Paul, if that is the case?
So, first of all, congratulations, Z3, for making it there. Tommy and Big Damo, the Crazy Mary, they're all really good wrestlers. Much like Sean continues to say, much like I think we've all said on here, Sister Abigail does not need to be a character on television. She needs to be an ethereal thing and sort of just exist out in that mystical ether that Bray Wyatt calls home. She doesn't need to be a character. But if they're going to do this, then Crazy Mary, I think, is a fine choice for it. But that's a big role to fill, and I don't know how well it's going to do. I really don't.
Everybody I've talked to isn't sold on her so much as a wrestler. I guess if she's as decent as Bray Wyatt, I guess that's fine. And it's also fine for a women's division on SmackDown who still has plenty of women on there that have a bit to learn. Just, I just don't want to see this happen. I really don't. Especially because it's going to feel like, and I saw some people talking about it in the group, it is going to feel like WWE's just trying to do their own version of Decay. I'm fine with obviously wrestling steals from you all steal from each other, but it just kind of bugs me,
Yeah.
Like, she needs to just be, like, the way that they use Sister Abigail and the whole Bray getting out of that locker thing was great. We don't need her to be a physical representation where you're wrestling against Sister Abigail. How is that gonna work? It's just.
Yeah, that just is not a good idea for the fact that Bray Wyatt is already having issues only because they're not allowing his character to be at its full potential. Adding this in, and then you have her being a solid object and not just imaginary, that causes more problems, especially if that person portraying the part screws up, isn't scary, or they decide to bury him. Well, that ends up being bad for Bray. So, I don't like it. I don't like the idea. I get it if you want to try to allude to it. Maybe you have a figure, but once again, you can't have that person show up in real life. That spells bad for me. So, but we'll see. Once again, like Paul said, congratulations to Tommy and Big Damo and Crazy Mary. I'm excited about seeing them. There's a few names out there that I've been excited about seeing, and they are a few I've been waiting for. So I'm thrilled about that. Before we jump into some rapid hits, guys, I got to talk about this. I want to give this a minute or two. The Hardys could possibly be having a Hardy Christmas special. Oh my God! I hope this happens more than anything. Could you imagine, Sean, just the great things that they're going to do with that?
God. This is going to be one of the greatest shows on TV that no one that's not a wrestling fan. If you're not a wrestling fan, you're probably not going to get anything of what's happening. But just the amazing, like, King Maxwell just telling whoever's going to be Santa Claus what he wants for Christmas, and and showing him some wrestling moves that he's learning in the process, at the same time. And, is there going to be a broken Santa?
Oh, fingers crossed on that one. That'd be great.
I want that to happen. Like, he's just evil instead.
Broken versions of Christmas carols would be wonderful, too.
Rebby playing the piano, and they're just ridiculous Christmas carols.
Well,
showing up to the naughty kid's house and deleting them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Santa, I knew you'd come.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and then, of course, Brother Nero can go around and kind of be the reindeer.
The compound's got to be, like, all decorated out. Like, I want to the hilt,
Oh, yes. Oh, God. This is just going to get better and better. I'm just imagining Brother Nero with that Rudolph nose on, walking around. I'm excited. I really, really hope this happens. If they want my help, I will help them. However this needs to work, this needs to happen. I'm excited. I really do hope that works out. We'll see, though. Oh, man. Well, let's jump into some rapid hits real quick, guys. We got a few things that we can jump into really quickly, and one of those things is WrestleMania 33 is coming your way very, very soon in Orlando, and you want to buy tickets. They're going to be on sale November 18th. Don't forget that date, November 18th. If you want them, that's when you go purchase them. Unless you have a pre-sale code, I think, right? You can probably pre-order some before that. Well, let's talk about AJ Styles. Apparently, there's been a promotional picture going around that has him facing off against Shawn Michaels at Royal Rumble. Now, this is a rumor once again. We'll have to see what really takes place, but what do you think about that?
I'm just trying to imagine the match. I don't know exactly what shape Shawn's in right now. I don't know how well he's doing, or if he even wants to do this, or, if this is just a bunch of fans making posters online. But AJ Styles has perpetuated it on Twitter. I'd love to see it personally. I'd be totally down for this.
Man, who wouldn't be totally? This would be amazing. Like, I want to see this right now. But I just have a feeling, like, it seems like Shawn Michaels is very set on, hey, I want to have this retirement. I'm going to stay retired, and that's what we're doing.
Well, apparently TNA actually has some, tapings coming up next year, which is interesting because we don't know the future. But apparently they're going to go ahead and schedule tapings.
They have scheduled tapings. Apparently, a lot of people are just going about business as usual, which is great. I don't think you would go about doing this unless you had some inkling of what was going on. So, this is like a very small, tiny light in the very large pit of darkness that they're in.
It's better than them wait till last minute all the time. So, glad that they can be confident about something.
World of Sport is going to come back for one time only.
I'm kind of interested in how they're going to do this. World of Sport's very technical. It's very grounded in old school kayfabe ideas, and it's very, very reality based as far as the wrestling goes. So I'm curious exactly what kind of show they would bring back.
Yeah, it's right now they're kind of in between on whether it's going to air on ITV or it's going to air on another, like, smaller channel that ITV owns. That would obviously affect how many people are watching it, so hopefully it does air on ITV so you get people watching wrestling there in the UK. I didn't see a lot of big names on the card that was being thrown around, but perhaps it just means that you'll just get a lot of people that will get noticed after this. So it's cool that they're doing this. Never a bad thing to bring about that World of Sport.
Cody Rhodes has said that he is unsure right now if he'll be presenting that Dusty Rhodes Classic trophy that'll be actually taking place in the near future. Him and Goldust actually did hand it out last year What do you think?
I'd be very surprised if Cody shows up there. Obviously, I'm sure it wouldn't take a lot just to have him and Goldust standing there and then pass the cowboy boot off. But I don't know if it's something. It sounds like it's something he wants to do. I don't know if it's something WWE wants him to do.
He says, there's a chance that I look like a big hypocrite if I go back there and do that, which probably to many he does. And he says, the door's never really closed on WWE. That, he could think about going back, but I don't think he would.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. What is interesting, though, is that his show, the episode of Arrow he's on has actually aired, apparently. So that's something you can look forward to if you don't, get a chance to see him on the Dusty Rhodes Classic. At least you can watch him on Arrow. So there you go. All right, guys. Well, that is quick hits for us for this week. We are going to be moving on from here, and we're going to be getting into some NXT next. And don't forget, Lucha Underground and, of course, Impact Wrestling will be discussed on this show. Plus, we will be crowning a Superstar of the Week. But let's jump into some NXT.
All right. Hold on.
WWE Developmental NXT. Alright, NXT. Let me try to find this thing on the dock here. Well, this NXT is obviously known for one very big debut happening later in the show. Of course, Austin Aries' mystery partner, which we've already talked about on the show, and if you read any kind of news, you already know who it is. But we'll go through this. We do have another Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic match that happens before that, though. Drew Gulak and Tony Nese taking on No Way Jose and Rich Swann. This was a pretty good match, and No Way Jose and Rich Swann win. Thankfully, I'm glad that team is moving on.
They, I think, don't they face the Authors of Pain in the next round?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't like their chances, guys.
The dancing will end. But yeah, this match, was fun to watch. I enjoyed it, Paul.
I did too. I kind of hope Swan and Jose stick around as a tag team for a little bit. I think there's some flashes of chemistry in there. Obviously, they do have the similarity in the dancing and whatnot and everything, but they're just a fun team. Like they're a nice power speed combination that I think could really bring some depth to that tag division.
Yeah.
Well, so the other Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic match obviously involves Austin Aries against Otis Dozovic and Tucker Knight, and his partner Roderick Strong making his debut here. He doesn't get the biggest reaction when he's making his entrance, but he gets a bunch of Roddy chants during the match. Lasts about 5 minutes. You get probably more Roddy than you get Austin Aries, but they do have like one tag team combo move they do that we've seen Aries do with Rude before. Tucker Knight, I thought, looked good in this, doing a drop kick, and they had a cool series of like big man, old school like big man tag moves, which was fun. Just because you don't see that so often, so it's just kind of fun to see, like just two big heavy dudes like whooping ass for a while. And of course, Roderick Strong wins with the big gut buster and the mispronounced sick kick by Tom Phillips. Tom, doesn't hurt you to watch some ROH. But, yeah. TM61 in the next round. Oh, boy, that's going to be great.
That's going to be real good. I was kind of sad that Roderick didn't get the biggest of reactions, but at least they sort of came around to him, I think, by the end. This match was fine. I mean, Dozovic and Knight probably shouldn't have gotten as much as they did. But, I mean, Aries and Strong still, I think they looked impressive. Just not as much as they could have.
Yeah, and I kind of thought that they were kind of reserving some of their, moves or, whatever offense they had because they know they're going to have bigger matches coming up. And so I got that. And plus, you're talking about, two younger guys here that you may not want to give, all the stuff away to. So, I mean, this was fun. You got the main point here. That's, of course, that Roderick Strong and Austin Aries are going to be a really competitive team in this tournament. The one thing I will say, and I'm already blanking on his name. I know the one's name is Otis, and another one is, what was it? It's not Travis, is it? What is
Tucker Knight.
Tucker Knight, thank you. Tucker looks like a brother of Ryback, if you ask me. Hey, I mean, legitimately, I think if you shaved his head, maybe cut some of the facial hair, I'd swear they would look very close. It was so weird just looking at him like, is that Ryback's brother, or is that Ryback? And secretly, it just, he lost all his muscle mass. But anyway, I just thought that was kind of interesting, this whole thing. So, but you know what? I'll say this: Otis and Tucker. I kind of like them, to be honest with you. I know they're new, but I kind of like that tag team in a way. It's kind of like if you took away Enzo from Kaz and then you threw Bull Dempsey in there. Kind of what it makes me think.
Well, I mean, he does kind of look like another Bull Dempsey. That I agree with you. That's kind of who I thought. I was like, oh, it's another Bull Dempsey again, but maybe they like him more. I'm not too sure, but still, I liked what we got. I'm always for big man teams when they actually try, and these two thought like they were having fun out there and we're trying, so I appreciate that. Moving on from the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic stuff, even though we are getting DIY and Ho Ho Loon and Tion Bing next week. And we also get Lince Dorado and Mustafa Ali against Kota Ibushi and TJ Perkins. That should be a heck of a lot of fun, that match right there. So moving on to the women's part of the program, they do get two spots here. You get Liv Morgan getting interviewed in the back, and Billie Kay and Peyton Royce are coming in there again, as always, because that's what they do. They're just bullies to her, mean girls, And so they attack her from behind, and Peyton Royce just absolutely whacks her with a freaking running knee, which is just nasty. And then they're putting everybody on notice, even Asuka, that the division belongs to them. And you also get a Nikki Cross against Danielle Camilla match, which goes about a minute.
The backstage stuff I thought was fine. I enjoy the pairing of Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. Calling out Asuka, as we have seen, ends in death, so I wouldn't do that, girls. Just be on the safe side there. I love, Sanity has a really cool presentation. I think the entrance and the song and everything really fits with them, and I loved Nikki Cross in this. She's very, very different. She's hyper aggressive. She beats Danielle Camilla originally and then gets disqualified after she continues to beat her up after the bell, which I just love that kind of stuff. And it makes her look super dangerous, which in a division with Asuka, I think is very helpful.
Yeah, very much so. And really quickly, I think, we had the first match, which really, just a backstage thing, really. But I think it was interesting to see, Peyton Royce has really been, out there and really showcasing what she can do, and not only on the mic, but of course out there in the ring. And Liv, of course, does her thing. I think all three of those girls in that segment did a good job. I think it was very believable. I appreciated, the work they put into it, because it was just a good job all the way around. Now, to Nikki Cross, I got to talk about this, because I like Paul. I like the dynamic here. I like what she did, biting herself, scratching, all that kind of stuff, just acting like a crazy woman. And that makes a lot of sense. It gives, what they're trying to do with this group. It's just all the way around. It seems like it really is standout. It's a standout moment for them, and I appreciate that. The biggest knock I'm going to have on this group is that we have not heard the voice of Eric Young yet. It just bugs me when I don't get to hear Eric Young talk. So, besides that, I think they did a good job.
Really? You want to hear that voice? Or are you just trying to troll Paul?
No, I
try to ignore that he's out there, guys. I really do.
I just love the way he talks because my throat starts hurting immediately. It's like I feel great, and then when he starts talking, I feel like I have a sore throat, or if I have strep throat or something.
Get that chloroseptic in there, Gary.
Yeah, I know. No, I mean,
that doesn't
to be
work
honest,
with Eric Young, you know.
I know. No, but to be serious for a second, I think this group looks good entrance and all that, but I really do want to know their goals. And that's what I am looking forward to. I don't care who says it, who talks. I do want to know their goals.
Yeah. It's very true. It would be nice for them to state why they're actually there doing what they're doing. That would be an important thing. I forgot to mention there was a New Japan show that starts in about 3 hours, so there's something that we're doing on Monday. But let's talking about that show. I think that starts the Super Juniors tag tournament, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So speaking of interviews, that we have one with Liv Morgan. We have a sit-down interview with Mr. Andrade Cien Almas, and I thought he did a really good job here of, yes, he had to use Spanish, a translator and all that for part of this, but I think it was all kind of a way to get him heat, kind of like the way that Del Rio would do, and then he does the last part of the promo in English, and he's just basically saying, look, I don't care about people giving me respect, I just care about Almas.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was still pretty good despite it being in Spanish and using a translator and everything. And the story they're sort of crafting here about Almas trying to get respect any way he can is something that kind of interests me. So I'm, and especially if it's going to lead to him and Cedric Alexander having a match, I'm all for that.
Yeah, of course, I definitely want to see that match. This is okay. It didn't really bother me at all. It gets its point across, but I'm just not invested in Almas right now. So it's kind of hard for me to say that I just loved it or anything. It was there. It was fine. So that's about it for me, though. So I do like the fact. I will say this: I do like the fact that he addressed the mask. Saying that he took, got rid of his mask to join NXT. I like that kind of stuff because, for the smart fans who've been paying attention, at least, they get that credit. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very true. I think we also get the Bobby Roode and Sean Maluta match, which, of course, Bobby Roode wins. And then he talks about going international in Canada, of course, Bobby Roode being from there, so big deal for him. And makes fun of Ty Dillinger for whining on social media, and says he's going to eliminate losers like Ty Dillinger. And Ty comes out, and we get 10 chants. The crowd's all into this, but Bobby Roode is having none of that. Poor Ty.
As much as this is, I'm sure, a vehicle to get Bobby Roode over and sort of using a well-known guy in NXT to do so, I feel like this is helping Ty just as much because he certainly just being around and feuding with Bobby Roode, he already feels more important.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think that's probably what direction they wanted to go in. I think that, this is a guy that has, really showcased a lot. He's been giving himself to the NXT crowd. Whether win, lose, or draw, Ty Dillinger has been just a very, very valuable candidate for the NXT roster. And now you got a guy like Bobby Roode who can kind of help him, and of course he's helping Bobby Roode. So it's a great marriage here, and I appreciate the fact that they are investing some time in Ty Dillinger, and it's quality time. It's not just him on the show for 3 minutes and he's done. We're getting some quality time, especially the promos. People are kind of getting to know him a little bit more. So I appreciate it. I think it's working out great, and of course this makes him look strong.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing you can give TNA, NXT is that they at least give these guys promo time. Maybe you don't always tell stories with everybody, but they get promo time to show what they can do, and you can only learn from actually having to practice and getting to rewatch it yourself and having others be able to critique that, so it helps. I mean, Bobby Roode doesn't need help in that department at all, but just saying. Finally, we get the Shinsuke Nakamura coming out to address the fans, and he's going to beat Joe with no mercy, and out comes Patrick Clark, of all people, with his new outfit, basically doing his version of Prince, including calling what he does the Patrick Clark experience. Alright. So we're either Jimi Hendrix or we're Prince. Alright. Well, whatever floats your boat there, Mr. Patrick Clark. Basically, he just challenges Nakamura to match, and, well, that's not going to end up well. Nakamura freaking basically just kicks him some more, Kinshasa. Samoa Joe comes out to try to do a sneak attack, and that doesn't work out because Nakamura sees him, and he decides, well, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, sort of continuing to feed off the great brawl that Joe and Nakamura had. There's a lot of heat here. I'm super invested in this. I can't wait to see them hook it up again at Toronto. And poor Patrick Clark. That's the wrong place, wrong time, buddy.
Poor Patrick Clark. This guy, he's kind of interesting in a way, but then again, he's kind of annoying, and I don't know much about him besides what we saw at Tough Enough. And I'm really interested in really getting down to really understanding what he's trying to do with that character. If it is Prince or if it's just a flamboyant guy, I don't know. He's definitely not a Dalton Castle. I'll say that. So I think that he's doing okay. But yeah, I just think they threw him out there to get killed, basically.
Yeah, I mean you're not wrong on that point.
Yeah, I mean, at least he's getting TV time. I say that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, better than not getting any time. I mean, they just kind of added him to start having him appear on NXT and stuff. So, cool for him that he gets to work with Nakamura. He hasn't been on TV very long. Just I don't know about the gimmick.
I don't know. I question very hardly, but I think
I
actually,
guess it's better than the Trump thing, but
oh, definitely, yeah. That's not so time sensitive either. But I want to say
better than Trump, but
yeah. I think anything's better than anyone running for president right now. I'm hoping I can vote for Venezuela president soon. So.
Oh God, don't.
Anyway, but enough about politics. I do want to give Nakamura props. Did a great job on the mic, I think, if you ask me. He seemed more comfortable than ever. So, yeah. So that's all I wanted to say on that. There you go, guys. Well, we are going to move on from here, and we are going to get into some Lucha Underground. That's right. We're jumping into the temple. We'll be right back with that next.
All right, Paul.
All right. So we open up Lucha Underground this week. Prince Puma is preparing for his match with Mio Muertes tonight in the back. Vampiro shows up, offers to give him some advice. Puma pretty much tells him that he'd rather die at the hands of Mio than take any help from Vampiro. And Vampiro says, that's all fair, but I'm pretty confident in telling you that I'm pretty sure Mule's going to die by your hands. So interesting to note there. And then we move on as Dario is outside his office with the Dial of Doom. Matanza is in the ring. So that means, of course, it's time for Matanza to kill somebody. And the unfortunate victim this week is Killshot, who is still selling the Weapons of Mass Destruction match. So props to him for that. And then Matanza just continues to overpower him, despite Killshot getting some nice hope spots here and there. But he eventually falls prey to the wrath of the gods.
Just to start out with Puma and Vampiro real quick, I want to say this. That was kind of an interesting dynamic. I think that it was kind of cool to see, the reaction that Puma had. Vampiro, is proven to be a shady character, so you can't blame him for that. But then again, you got to question, didn't seem to bother Vampiro very much, and he still, kind of kissed Puma's butt. So kind of interested in that. But, on the other hand, poor Killshot, Matanza, just lit him up, Sure, you get these glances of hope for him, but at the same time, I think pretty much all of us kind of thought going into this, Matanza's going to still beat the crap out of this guy.
Yeah, I think the thought, unless it's somebody that's on the upper tier of the roster, you kind of know what Matanza's going to do to that person. That's kind of his deal. He's a monster. It's what he should be doing. He's beating up people. Prince Puma needs to watch out because Vampiro's the new head of talent relations in AAA. So, that could affect him down the line if he crosses Vampiro. No, I'm being legit. That's Vampiro's new role. So, talk about, AAA was already having a problem being shady. They're even shadier.
Oh, man. Oh. Better watch out.
You want to talk about shady. AR Fox comes on down to the ring. Post-match, Killshot gives him a hug, seems sort of surprised to see him here, and hugs him. AR Fox ain't having none of that, kicks him in the face, beats him up, plants him with a big fisherman brainbuster, and clearly this is the gentleman that Killshot left for dead.
Yeah, and that was kind of interesting too. I thought this is kind of a cool way to kind of finish up that. I really thought it was interesting. So, good storytelling here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good way to debut a new character. So, I got no problem with that. Just I'm not the biggest AR Fox fan, so let's see what he can do here in Lucha Underground.
Yeah, his style is very. I think it'll fit in well here, though, and with the storytelling that Lucha Underground could do, I think he'll do all right here. I think. What were you gonna say, Gary?
Oh, I was just saying that name AR Fox always makes me think of that Super Nintendo video game.
Star Fox?
Star Fox, yes. I keep picturing the fox, and then when I see AR Fox, I'm like, that doesn't look like a fox at all.
You're not wrong. The ships in that game are called AR wings, so.
Yeah.
See, I knew there was I knew there was a connection here. Okay.
He needs to just do a barrel roll. We're good.
That could be a theme song.
Oh, man.
Oh, man, no.
Do a barrel roll. We can move on from that.
Oh, my God.
Did that, Gary.
We get some more White Rabbit teaser videos. They're coming soon. I don't know when soon is, as they've been doing these for like 3 weeks now. But next up, Aerostar, Phoenix, and Drago come on down to the ring for what looks to be a match. However, Dario steps out of his office, lets us know that in 4 weeks we're getting Aztec Warfare 3, which I'm super pumped for. And then he lets these guys know that he's so confident in his brother Matanza's ability to kill people that he's having him enter at number 1, and these three are going to compete for number 20 in a unique opportunity match. And the winner, of course, will get to enter at number 20. The losers will not be able to compete in the match, which is very, very sad because I like all three of these guys. So then we get the match. It's awesome. It's this like 2,000-mile-an-hour sprint. and Drago ends up going over by hitting a blockbuster on Aerostar. I mean, these guys go out there, kill it. Phoenix gets his nose broken. I think he's bleeding all sorts of blood underneath his mask. Phoenix's kicks are deadly. Aerostar's flipping everywhere. Drago's flipping everywhere. Phoenix, of course, flipping everywhere. It's great.
Definition of flippies, right?
Definition of.
Yep. So, I mean, it was a lot of high-octane action. I appreciate it. I know there's old-timers who don't, but it was fun. It was great, and, it's one of those things where you sit back and you just enjoy it, and I did. I thought it was fine. And I agree with you, Paul. It's kind of a bummer not all these guys can be a part of that. It's kind of sad.
I love how Gary's like, us old-timers,
not
so
us.
much younger.
No, I'm talking about the old timers, not us.
Oh.
I'm talking about guys like Jim Ross and other guys who hate that kind of stuff.
Well, so. Jim Ross, he lives in his own little world. He's not as bad as Jim Cornette, but
oh Jesus!
Sometimes I wonder. But no, this match was freaking loved it. Just terrific stuff. I mean, all three of these guys are awesome together in the ring, and of course, Aerostar and Drago had their tremendous little 5 stars or 5 series thing last time, so they know each other so well. You had in Phoenix that freaking he's just great with almost anyone, so awesome stuff.
Yeah, and really quickly, if you want to find that rabbit you're kind of alluding to, or whoever this is, I always, the best way to find rabbits, if you ask me, is through the looking glass. So.
Jesus.
God.
Do we need to get like Jefferson Airplane in here too?
I love that song.
I mean, we got to remember what the doorman says.
Yeah. Feed your
so
head.
True.
Yes, so Ryback, that's right. Feed your head. Anyway.
After the match, we go backstage to the bathroom, so you already know you're going to see Drago back there because that's his favorite hangout spot. Cobra Moon shows up and says he better win the championship for the tribe, and Drago says that he left the Snake Tribe long ago and he's never coming back. And then some random dude walks in and apologizes because Cobra Moon's in there by herself after Drago disappears, like, sorry, I thought this was the men's room. Because that was necessary for whatever reason. And then Johnny Mundo walks into Dario's office and says he needs to be Lucha Underground champion. And he's gotten so desperate that he's practically begging Dario here to get that match with Sexy Star so he can win the Gift of Gods title. And he ends up giving Dario the $100,000 that he won back in Season 1, even though it's a little lighter now because he had to pay off some people for internet photos. There's a rib at all the stuff that he went through with Melina earlier this year. And next week he gets that match with Sexy Star now for the Gift of the Gods title.
Oh, man. That actually could be a pretty good match, so kind of interested in seeing that. And, why not have just a random comedy segment in the bathroom? It just fits Lucha Underground so well.
I just thought it was his favorite hangout. It's like...
I struggle to think of a Drago backstage segment that did not take place in the bathroom.
You're right.
That's so true.
Maybe he has irritable bowel syndrome or something. You never know,
I mean, he does breathe fire, so.
That is true, So
He's
fire must come out
some end,
and not only that, think about the fact that this guy walks in and there she sits, and he's just like, "Well, I thought this was the men's room. Is it okay if I just sit and watch? So.
Well, Cobra Moon is that creepy.
I know.
Watch you.
No. Anyway, it was quite entertaining.
I'm glad that she has a story though. Finally, instead of just being a creepy woman going after dudes.
I'm forgetting the character who she was sort of having a love interest story with last season, but he's
Daga.
not around. Yeah, Daga, who was Flamita, who's not around anymore. So then we move on to the main event. Prince Puma takes on Mil Muertes. these guys go straight at it too. They haven't touched each other since Ultima Lucha Uno, which I found very impressive. That Lucha Underground hadn't gone back down that well. And Puma, of course, gets to look awesome. He's diving off the risers in the crowd onto the floor. He's running up guardrails. Meal looks equally impressive. Finally, Puma ends up putting him away with the 630. Vampiro's nodding in approval. And I loved this match top to bottom. I thought this was great.
Yeah, it was exciting. I really liked it too. This is one that, it's a match that you need to watch if once again, if you're not watching anything on the card, I think this is one of the ones that you really need to check out. I mean, just cool. And I do love the fact that, they really are, showcasing that, Vampiro has this interest in Puma. I like that, so.
It'd be cool if they could go back to the season 1 and be like, oh man, I always wanted to be your manager instead of Conan or something. But AAA, you can't even mention Conan now. Somebody will get beheaded or something.
Oh dear.
So this it's probably that bad. Apparently they tried to offer Rey Mysterio and Cage contracts. To where you couldn't wrestle for anywhere that has CMLL on it, of course, but you also couldn't wrestle anywhere that Conan was either. So it's geez,
wow,
they hit him that bad. But yeah, I mean, this match was again. These two don't matter if they get 20 minutes or less than 10. You're gonna get something tremendous out of these two. They just work really well, and of course, Puma's always great, and Muertes when he is on. He is one of the best.
Couldn't agree with that more. And then after the match, we go backstage. Rey Mysterio's talking to somebody who stays off camera, talking about his feud with Chavo and how it's distracting him from the bigger picture that's going on around Lucha Underground. And he wants to deal with Chavo so he can get back to all the other stuff that's going on. But he wants to make sure it won't lead to war with the rest of the Guerrero family. Outsteps Chavo Classic, Chavo Guerrero Sr., and he wants to make sure that Rey and Chavo can only settle this by fighting and not by any other means. And so Rey, of course, says it has to be a fight, and either he leaves or I do. And I'm kind of excited to think that this is going to come to a head sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I agree. This is going to be, really exciting, and it really makes you, think that they really have a cool direction for this. Because at first I wasn't sure what we were going to get, and then see Chavo Classic. I thought that was really neat.
It's awesome to see Chavo Classic. It's been forever, I just wanted to be like, oh, come on, man, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you need to go full Cheech and Chong, but
yeah.
To each his own.
That's what it felt like he did at WWE half the time.
That is true. That's your Lucha.
That's right. That is Loaded Lucha. So now we are going to head on over and talk some Impact Wrestling. And don't forget, everyone, we are also going to crown a Superstar of the Week. You don't want to miss that. So we'll be right back with some Impact.
TNA Impact Wrestling.
I was wondering if things got bad, if they'd have to change the theme song again. I was actually kind of liking that one, but thankfully that's not the case, since Billy Corrigan's doing all right, and it seems like Cody got the Corrigan special too. That song sounds like one of his other songs or something.
Yeah.
Speaking of, Cody comes out to start the show because, again, we just have to have talking segments to start, TNA programming. It would behoove them to not do what WWE does, but whatever. This also just kind of bothered me because it was like Cody telling us about
Dusty, and then he kind of tries to be The Rock for a second. Then Eddie Edwards comes out, and it's like, wow, two guys that are just not giving me a lot of fire here. I don't know. Until Lashley came out, I just was kind of like, well, I feel like I should probably start looking at my phone. And it was just too nice, maybe. I don't know.
The biggest problem with it is the fact that you've got two guys here that I guess in a way you could say the fans are sympathetic for. They really like Cody. They're excited. This is the guy that they've watched on WWE television forever. And then you got a guy like Eddie Edwards, who's really a tag team wrestler who's done some good things in his singles career, and now he's the world champion, and that's awkward enough for everybody, especially me. And then, so I'm supposed to believe that these guys are going to have a brutal war, which they, could, but it's a little awkward. I think both these guys didn't do terrible or anything. It's just that it's just a matchup that doesn't really just jump out at you. Bobby Lashley jumps out at you because of his size, because of his ability to be a great heel. I mean, honestly, it surprised me that, what we've got out of Lashley, to be honest with you. So
and I think
that's
part
the
of
thing.
It too is it's hard to get into Cody when you know he's not going to be there very long.
True.
It's even harder too when both Eddie and Cody Eddie's been champion for a week and had zero momentum going into his title win, and Cody's been here for a week. So it's kind of hard to get invested when you had so little time to sort of get used to the status quo, let alone when they have zero build going into this match.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But we shall, since this all kind of goes in together, Lashley and Moose also get involved here because they're having a number one contenders match to start the show. Moose stuck with him for, most of the match. Moose got quite a lot here. Lashley winds up winning, but he really had to, put him away to get the win.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match a lot. I thought Moose got more than his fair share. He got to kick out of the spear, which is good. And Lashley had to resort to the second rope one, which he busted out on EC3 back at Bound for Glory. So, it protected Moose. Lashley still looks strong for beating him, and I don't envy Eddie Edwards and or Cody.
Yeah. No, I don't think you can envy them for that. Not a bad match at all between Bobby Lashley and Moose. I think they both did a good job. I really do appreciate that, they kind of sold for each other, did a good job for that. And so at the end of the day, Bobby Lashley winning makes sense. I know a lot of people would say, well, why would you do that to a guy like Moose? Well, Moose has still got time. He's still got, some growth and some growing inside him to really make him that guy that we all want to see. So right now, I'm okay with the decision here, and I do feel bad for whoever is that champion going to face off against him.
Yeah, so we move along to actually going through that main event match here with Eddie Edwards and Cody. And this was actually a damn good match here. Fitting of a main event to end the show. Eddie Edwards wins, so he looks strong here. And they really didn't have, they didn't have shenanigans, which helps because it puts over Eddie Strong. And you don't have Cody just kind of going over your champion or whatever because he's a bigger guy, a bigger star. So good on all fronts, I thought.
Yeah, I thought they worked this really smartly. Eddie Edwards sort of, I don't want to say plays a back seat to Cody, but Cody gets in a good majority of offense here, and Eddie sort of just squeaks by what with catching him after the superplex with the small package there. And I wouldn't mind a rematch, honestly. I thought this was really good, and I think Eddie comes out stronger for it, too.
Maria also attacked Brandy Rhodes afterwards and slammed her head into the steps. So there's that, too.
Yeah, so there you go. They're already kind of starting the next feud, and I think that's what we're going to be seeing soon. Is Cody and Brandy Rhodes facing off against the Bennetts.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because we do have Allie giving herself a pep talk in the mirror before she goes on to this speech with Maria. Braxton Sutter, her husband comes in and gets the first time they're talking to each other on screen. And then Miss Laurel Van Ness or Chelsea Green comes in and kind of tries to get Braxton's attention so that he doesn't pay attention to Allie. So they go on this speech. Maria wants an apology from Allie. Allie stands up to Maria basically. Then Miss Van Ness beats her down, and next week Allie becomes a wrestler because it's her and Laurel. I still don't... Like, seriously, who names their kid Laurel? Unless you live, like, in the 40s.
Or if you're a character in a Green Arrow comic book.
I know, but it's just, that was also set back then, wasn't it? I mean...
Not in the 40s.
But, I don't know, like, when I see her, I don't think of a Laurel.
I mean, a name's a name. Honestly, what I care about is Allie here, and I thought she came out of this looking great. The crowd's so into her. I'm super into it, and I don't know if that match is going to be anything worth a dang or whether it's going to get time or not, but certainly looking forward to see what they do with Allie going forward.
I'm sure they're going to have her, like, being trained or whatever, so I imagine the first match isn't going to be anything good like you're saying, and then eventually it'll start to where she progressively keeps getting better and everything. Yeah, like this feud would be nothing if the crowd didn't care about Allie, so that's the actually good part about this feud is they're doing something to make somebody else. Because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't care about whatever Maria does.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just excited that Allie's finally getting away from being stuck in the same old same. I really hope it turns out good, but it's going to be funny. We already know that, but I think hopefully it could actually be positive for her too.
Very true. And of course, to wrap up the whole Maria being around, is we find out that Tyrus has one of his fixer videos air, because he has these things air and then he never does anything. So this time they actually have Tyrus meet up with Mahabali Shera, of all people. So Sarah paid Tyrus to fight for him, but Tyrus is like, look, I'm going to teach you how to become a champion because I'm the fixer. And so I have an opponent for you, and his opponent winds up being Mike Bennett, and of course Mike Bennett wins because Shera's terrible.
Somebody really should tell Tyrus that he should have just beaten up Shera.
Couldn't agree more on that one.
Good lord. At least they didn't waste any time with this, and it was just like a squash for Mike Bennett. So.
I still want to know what Tyrus is playing on those headphones, though.
I mean, he's still... I think the end of that commercial was... It has, copyright, Whooposaurus or something like that on it. So, maybe he still listens to, his old WWE theme in his headphones.
I like to think it's that song from The Bodyguard.
I will always love you. Actually, I hope that is too. I like Whitney Houston. So.
Gary again talking about how much she likes Whitney Houston.
That was the best vocalist. Well, I'm still mad at Bobby Brown about that jerk. Anyway, enough about my
Bobby
upsets.
Brown, the first real woman wrecker.
Yeah. Before
Del Rio, there was Bobby Brown.
Yeah, sorry. Before Del Rio, and before the kicker from the Giants, Josh Brown.
God.
Anyway. So we have the Team X for Gold. Or Team X Gold, whatever the hell it is. DJZ is going to be, I guess, announcing the teams that are going to be in this, and Rockstar Spud comes out saying that he doesn't like the way this is being done, so he has a team, and they're going to debut next week. And okay, I guess we're doing Team X Gold because...
Does anybody know what this is? Like, what is Team X Gold? I still don't know.
Apparently
It's like...
six-man tag stuff. Is everybody, every company now going to have a six-man tag title? Is this like the new IT thing?
But there's no championship. It's just X Division guys and six-man tags because reasons.
Is there enough X Division guys to have six-man tags? I mean, come on.
That might be my next question.
Over and over.
This is going to get awful. I mean, oof, I don't know. I'm just going to go with it for now. But, you know, Rockstar Spud, you better have some good answers.
He usually does. But, you know, we won't hold it against him for this year. The terrible twosome of the Tribunal take on the Broken Hardys for the TNA tag titles. I mean, this was good. This was fine. The best part was the entrance, because I couldn't care about the match. So, look, I'm not hating on TNA. Just these, I can't even pronounce their names. Seriously, the Tribunal are just terrible. It's like, why do I need to care about anything they do, and you already know who's going to win this match? It's like, I'd rather just watch the Broken Hardys go around the piano for 7 minutes. I think that might be better.
But, I mean, they have to defend the belts at some point, and
yeah.
This is really the only other team they have right now. So
sad.
Options are short.
Oh, geez. It's like, okay. All right, guys, let's book this. Okay, well, who are we going to have face them? All right, out of the tag team division, who is it? I think we got 2 teams. Oh, okay. Yeah, Tribunal. Because, you know, the other tag teams actually thinking of tag title match, so, yeah. It's just so sad. It really is. I mean, to have that such just a shorthand situation with that tag division, it's a big bummer.
Well, I mean, you know, we do have that death count or whatever the hell they are. The guys with the masks that show up in videos, I think at least twice before they just start attacking people. They are the Death Council. They, like I said, it's kind of like, instead of having the red mask that ROH had, they have the white masks, and they have the cryptic talking and whatever, which, okay. Hey, you know, props for I guess trying to come up with something. But this is like something that no matter who's booking TNA, we just have to have this faction of sorts be around for TNA. I guess. But hey, at least we get a Eli Drake Fact of Life segment. Dummy.
Yeah. You know, this actually was not so bad to me. It was kind of interesting. Aaron Rex comes in, kind of chills with him a little bit. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great either. But I think it was.
Cuts for the Grand Championship thing was just so generic. It was like, what's the first thing that comes to my head that I could say for about 2 minutes? Okay, and I'm gonna deliver it just like this too, because I don't care. I am here for the money. I mean, EC3 just saved this segment. Seriously. This segment was saved by EC3 coming out and challenging Eli Drake to hit the damn button a bunch of times. It was freaking awesome. And, geez, the laugh track, I mean, I know why you liked it, Gary. That laugh track is like something right out of like your wheelhouse of just cheesy.
It is very cheesy. That's why my wife says, she goes, Gary, you are just too cheesy. And I said, yeah, I know. Take a bite out of me. Oh, sorry.
God.
Let too much personal information come out. Sorry about that.
We are in the
anyway,
Gary After Dark segment of...
Yeah, that's going to be a great podcast one day. Oh, just can't wait. I don't know.
Better tell your wife not to listen to that podcast.
Yeah. Don't listen to that one. It's going to mainly be personal. And, yeah, you don't want to know. But, you know, getting into this interesting laugh track and everything that was that segment, I mean, it was corny, it was cheesy, but that's what it's all about. That's Eli Drake. That's why I kind of started. I used to hate Eli Drake. I'm kind of falling in love with the character a little bit now because it's silly, it's stupid. It's like Dean Ambrose, but a little bit more entertaining at times.
I think he's getting better. I don't know if I like him yet. I mean, the Aaron Rex stuff was kind of meh. EC3 saving a segment should surprise no one. He's wonderful. And, my close personal friend is still probably one of the reasons you should keep watching the show, because he was great in that segment. And I'm kind of looking forward to him and Eli Drake hooking up. I can't say I'm not into that, but certainly I'm interested in the Death Count Council, and especially Larry terming them as Los Ingobernables de Orlando just has me rolling.
God.
Love that.
But, I mean, it's interesting. You get some mysterious guys rolling around. I'm totally with you on TNA. I don't think knows how to exist without a faction rolling around, but let's see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to be creative with it, so I appreciate that, and I appreciate that Jesse Goddard was also in that segment, so they're trying to make him matter, and that's a good thing. He deserves something on that front.
Definitely.
I think that's all of TNA.
Yeah, I guess it is. Well, there you go, guys. That is Impact Wrestling. I hope you enjoyed that. We are, of course, now down to one last thing we've got to do, and that's crown a Superstar of the Week. So we'll do that right after this.
Superstar of the Week.
All right, so let's get into this with 1 point, guys. Bill Goldberg. Yeah, that's right.
Bill Goldberg on this list in 2016 shocks me to no end, but that promo he cut at the end of Raw was killer. I really enjoyed that. For somebody who wasn't at all enthused about seeing Lesnar and Goldberg hook up again, I'm vaguely interested now, and that's more than I ever gave these guys credit for.
Good promo, but I could have done without the whole "I'm a hero to the kids."
You know you worshipped him, Gary.
Oh yeah, I used to pretend I was Bill Goldberg. I used to try to blow smoke out of my nose. That's why my brain damage is there. So yeah.
Gary wasn't the only one, so.
Yeah, I love Bill Goldberg. It's just that I don't like him at 50-something years old saying that the kids know him and they love him, because I don't know if many kids do know him. Trust me, we'll see you in the future appearances take place. But with 2 points, the Hardys.
The Hardys defend their tag titles against the Tribunal. It wasn't, the match was fine. But, hey, you defend tag titles, you get points.
And 3 points goes to AJ Styles.
Does successfully defend that WWE World Heavyweight title on SmackDown against James Ellsworth. And really a match that probably was better than any right it had to be, but that crowd made that match so great. So hats off to AJ and James for that piece of work.
And a returning character on this list, Matanza with 4 points.
Yeah, he had a good match with Killshot. He defends his Lucha Underground Championship, continues his reign of terror, or his reign of awesomeness, whichever one you look at it as, and yeah.
And with 5 points, and the guy that is going to be crowned Superstar of the Week for us this week, Eddie Edwards.
A tremendous match with Cody Rhodes on Impact this week. Probably one of the better matches that was on television all week. And successfully retains that championship he just won. So congratulations to Eddie Edwards, and 5 points well deserved.
Yes, very much so. And so there you go, guys. Eddie Edwards is our Superstar of the Week. And, of course, we'll be getting into some more big choices, I'm sure, next week when all the world of wrestling takes place once again when we restart this clock. But, here we are. We are at the conclusion of the show. And, of course, just to let you know once again, if you want to go check out our show and plenty of other shows on the W2M network, hey, go check out W2Mnet.com. That's the place where you're going to find all our shows and, of course, lots of written content that is going to make your eyes happy. And then, of course, if you want to go just find us through podcasting, go check out the W2M network. Go subscribe today. And also, don't forget, please go rate and review. That always is a big help to us, and we appreciate it. Everybody who does. Not only can you go and just rate and review Wrestling to the Max, but of course you can go rate and review all the other shows on the W2M network. We really would appreciate that. So, Sean, we've got some things coming out this week. You want to get into any of them?
Yeah. So we have new podcasts, I think, from everybody this week. Sorry that they haven't been posted. Kind of been slow and post them on the website because it's been working a lot. But yeah, you should check all those out. Jobber Scored. Check out Foxy and Squid. They were funny yet again, as they usually are. New Football 5, new this week in the AFL, where they talk to yet another AFL player, and he has quite a lot to say. He was actually pretty interesting just to listen to. I was just, producing on the call, and I didn't know much about the guy, but I was interested in what he had to say, just because it was a good interview. Of course, we already talked about what was on the video games to the max, but we talked for probably about 25 minutes about the Nintendo Switch and the Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer and that coming out again, plus a whole bunch of other stuff as well. And then, we'll be doing the football show here right after this one. So previewing that NFL Week 7, first week without the Cowboys on it, as we shed a tear. But everybody has to have an off week.
Yeah, they sure do. And so, we'll have a lot of great stuff to get into, of course, like you said there, Sean. And, of course, now I have to go on and find a way to make this logo for Gary After Dark. I've got to do that. I've got to figure out something for that logo. I'm picturing it right now. Man, that's going to be sexy. But anyway, we're going to get out of here, guys. We appreciate you all for joining us this week. So, until we see you guys next time, if you're not living life to the max,
not living life at all.
You know it.
Please.
Later.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.